Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. It begins with the greatest assassin in Chicago, Mr. X, working for the centuries-old organization called the Fraternity. He visits a nervous-looking associate who's aware of his reputation, but he assures her that he's only come to find the identity of a bullet maker. She tells him that the bullet's untraceable when the workers across the street suddenly brandish weapons and headshot the lady in her bindi. While avoiding gunfire, Mr. X gets in the elevator for that little extra distance, then makes the scene slow down before taking off running toward the window. He makes an impossible jump through the glass while shooting two assassins and curving a bullet fired from a flintlock around a pillar into the third. Falling just short by a floor, he immediately ascends to kill the remaining man before he can even turn around. One of the dead guy's phones goes off, but when X tells the caller that he shouldn't have sent amateurs, the person on the other end says they were just decoys. Suddenly a bullet bursts through his forehead before time rewinds as we follow its trajectory for many miles across the city back to its shooter. The assassin Cross sits in his apartment with a telescopic lens without any explanation as to why he's taking out his former colleagues. Elsewhere in the city, account manager Wesley celebrates his boss Janice's birthday with the rest of the office. He narrates about how fat and disgusting she is and how he knows that his girlfriend's cheating on him with his so-called best friend Barry, but he just doesn't care. Cathy berates him for living in a crappy little apartment that shakes whenever a train passes by, but he just takes his anxiety pills to block out the nagging. When Wesley leaves for work, we see that Cross's apartment is across the street as he's seemingly keeping an eye on the protagonist. Wes picks up his meds and even forks out the money for Barry's energy drinks and condoms since he lost his wallet while banging his girl. The accountant's pushed around by everyone in his life, including Janice, and we see that his anxiety attacks look awfully similar to the late Mr. X's abilities. He's stifled it his whole life with the medication and never even seen a picture of his father, who abandoned him when he was only a baby. One day, while purchasing his prescription and being watched closely by Cross, he meets a strange woman lurking around the counter named Fox. She tells Wesley that his father was the assassin Mr. X and seems like she is protecting him by ricocheting Cross's bullet away with her own. They have a shootout in the store where Fox wields a custom Matchmaster that fits into a corner shot to fire around the aisles. It's clear Cross doesn't want to kill Wesley when he lowers his gun at the sight of him, but Fox blows a gas bottle and they spill out into the car park. Wesley still thinks that the assassin's out to kill him when he drives a stolen truck flat stick towards him, but Fox scoops him up in her Viper and they easily escape from there. Or so you'd think, but Cross has hijacked the fastest truck in the land and chases them down, having a shootout through the streets of Chicago. Fox jams the accelerator on and lays out on the hood of the car while firing back at the truck and even driving with her feet. She narrowly avoids having her head taken off by a bus when Cross curves a bullet around it and blows out the Viper's tire. Coming up on a police barricade, Fox gets into the driver's seat and at high speed drifts the bare rim into a train track, causing the Dodge to flip. It goes straight over the officers and collides with a bus that tips over and allows them to drive away, with the police just deciding to give up. Wesley passes out during all of this impossibility and wakes up surrounded by even more assassins and the fraternity leader Sloan. Before telling him anything else, he orders Wesley to shoot the wings off a fly while the gunsmith gives him a little motivation. Time slows down and the flies get blown to smithereens, but Sloan somehow retrieves all of the tiny wings and reveals that they aren't anxiety attacks. He says that Wesley has inherited his father's ability to react to situations faster by speeding up his heartbeat, as well as all of his money and assets. The fraternity offer to train Wes into an assassin, but he freaks out and runs home once Fox will move out of the way of the staircase. He keeps the gun that he stole and thinks it was all just a nightmare until the pistol drops out of his pants in the morning. After stashing it in his toilet, he confirms that what Sloan told him was the truth when realizing that he's now a millionaire. But still goes to work the next day like normal and looks up reports about Mr. X's assassination. His newfound confidence deters the friend from even making conversation, but that doesn't work on the energy vampire Janice. Wesley snaps and gives his boss a piece of his mind, as well as tells her to lay off the jelly donuts that she has stashed in her drawer. He quits his job while smacking Barry in the face with his keyboard on the way out, sending teeth and bloody keycaps soaring through the air. Outside, Wesley sees that he's now a wanted fugitive along with Fox, who pulls up in a stolen car and tells him to get in. She takes him to the fraternity headquarters, which is an old textile factory filled with regular workers, and the assassins share a cafeteria like everyone else. Since his life's over anyway, Wesley decides to follow in his father's footsteps and gets put through various combat tests and lessons. The repairman says that his job is to break bad habits, then proceeds to violently beat Wesley unconscious with only 4 punches. He's then taken to the butcher, who trains Wes to handle blades and then leaves him to recover in a bath that simulates white blood cells to rapidly heal. A Russian explosives expert called the Exterminator makes bombs to attach to rats and aids the recovery process with nips of vodka. He sounds crazy to Wesley, who blames the behavior on beatings from the repairman, but gets overheard by Fox talking crap about their organization. She takes over as the one giving him a beat down today, and afterwards Sloan reveals that they're training Wesley to assassinate Cross. Wesley thinks he's already prepared to get revenge, but Sloan says that even their best guy Mr. X couldn't defeat Cross, who has been killing all of their runner-ups ever since. Wesley concedes and returns to researching the files on his future target as Fox puts him through more baby training assignments like jumping across moving trains. She does so gracefully, while Wes not so much when he breaks his arm in the process, but it heals within hours inside the Lazarus pits. The gunsmith teaches Wesley the basics of shooting his namesake, and what better target than to fire at somebody's dead grandma. He's eventually promoted to curving bullets, a feat that even Sloan's able to do, but Wesley is never able to avoid the pig in the way of the target. Finally, the repairman conditions Wesley's head even better than his own hands, and he's able to complete his first challenge. Next, the butcher teaches Wesley to handle a knife well enough to defeat himself, leaving him with only 2 tests to pass until he's ready for work. The first is to speed up his heartbeat to react faster, and he spends days trying to retrieve a fast-moving shuttle from inside a textile machine. Without needing a gun put to his head, he's able to control his ability and retrieves the shuttle, leaving only the final test. After everything, he's still unable to curve the bullet, so Fox puts herself in place of the pig for some proper motivation. It's enough for him to avoid putting a hole in her face, and he successfully curves the bullet, getting him welcomed into the fraternity by Sloan. He shows Wes the loom of fate that was discovered by medieval weavers to contain a pattern in its threads that generate names in binary code. Sloan deciphers their targets, and when Wesley questions its validity, Fox tells him the story about her parents being killed by the man who branded her neck. Years later, when she met Sloan, she discovered that the loom had displayed the murderer's name before that night, but a fraternity member failed to do their job. Because of this, Fox is now a devout believer, as the assassin's motto is to kill one to save thousands, and sometimes it's before a person has even committed a crime. Wesley goes all in and receives a test run before he hunts down Cross, where he kills some random rich guy from the top of a train with a curved bullet. He's also now able to put up a challenge with Fox in racing across the top of the train cars to capture the flag. Next, he kills some more people, including a mogul in a bulletproof limo whose smoking problem causes the death of him. Wesley flips his Mustang over a Corvette, shooting the man through his open sun roof before landing safely on the other side. When he returns home, he finds Barry inside and busts his inconsiderate nose before retrieving the gun that he hid earlier. Fox overhears the girlfriend demeaning Wesley, so she enters in slow motion and makes out with him to make her feel jealous before leaving. They split up for a moment outside when Wesley notices Cross watching him and fires a shot, but the super assassin deflects it with his own. It begins a chase where Cross tries to lead Wesley away from the other assassins, but the Exterminator shows up and gets shot by his own fraternity brother. Cross manages to escape, but not before shooting Wesley in the shoulder and leaving him to recover in the bathtub while the Exterminator dies beside him. Having used a traceable bullet this time, Wesley tracks it to a monastery and requests Sloan's permission that he finally be allowed to go after Cross. He's given the green light and receives the contract, but the moment Wesley leaves, Sloan hands Fox another one with Wes's name on it. Once at the monastery, Wesley gets outsmarted by the bullet maker Pekwarsky, who was also an assassin before he went rogue. Fox shows up and the two force him to arrange a meeting with Cross at a train station, but the moment they arrive, he takes off running. Again, Wesley gets lured away onto a train by Cross, and Pekwarsky evades capture before speaking on the phone to Cross like they intended the whole thing. Cross then tries to have a conversation with Wesley when Fox separates them with a bullet before crashing a stolen car into the carriage. Wesley takes shots first while Cross deflects them, and the only one that he fires first is aimed at Fox, but Wesley saves her. As they enter a tunnel, the car suddenly collides, causing the train to go careening off the tracks and leaves them all dangling for their lives above a canyon. Wesley escapes the lower half before all of the passengers fall to their deaths, but he's saved by Cross, who attempts to pull him up to safety. Without hesitation, Wes shoots who he assumes is his father's killer in the chest, and the train car falls into the chasm but gets wedged halfway down. The mortally wounded Cross reveals that he's Wesley's real father and uses his last breath to say that the fraternity is lying to him. Fox admits that it's true and that they recruited his son because Wesley's the only person that they knew Cross wouldn't kill. She goes to take out Wes, but he shoots out the window from under him and falls the rest of the way into the water-filled chasm below. Soon after, he's dragged out by Pekwarsky and swiftly recovers in a bathtub inside Cross's old apartment. His father's friend shows him that Cross was watching him his whole life but abandoned him so that he could have a normal childhood outside of the fraternity. It's revealed that Sloan has been manipulating the loom of fate ever since his own name came up and he didn't want to face justice. Wesley stumbles upon his father's half-concocted plan to eliminate the whole fraternity and begins by luring some rats with peanut butter into the back of a dump truck. Just like the Exterminator, he attaches timed explosives to thousands of rodents and reverses the truck straight through the front doors of the textile factory. Wesley remains inside while dumping out all of the rats so that they can run throughout the compound, making it impossible to get them all before their timers run out. They blow up, destroying every inch of the fortress and even the loom of fate when Wesley leaps out of the truck and starts killing everyone. He runs full speed through the factory floor, grabbing guns as they fall out of enemy hands and putting one through the repairman's face to use his body as a shield while still running. Making it through level 1 with only a bullet to the shoulder, Wesley continues upstairs searching for Sloan until fighting the butcher. He's able to deflect bullets with his knives and they have a gun versus knife fight until the butcher's honing steel breaks off in the barrel of the gun. Wesley shoots it into the big guy's chest and drives it further with a kick before advancing to the library where Fox and all of the other remaining assassins wait. Wesley shows everyone the kill order with Sloan's name on it, so he admits it's true but that everyone else also had their name come up. He gives the assassins the ultimatum to either abide by the rules of fate and shoot themselves or kill Wesley and continue dictating the world. The gunsmith's down for murder, but Fox is too devout to the rules of the loom and gives Wes a smile before curving a bullet into her neighbor's head. It does a complete loop of the room, braining everyone as Fox tosses Wesley her gun and remains in the circle as her name was on the list. She dies along with the other assassins and Wesley chases Sloan through the loom threads, but he's already escaped and fled the factory. When returning to the city, Wesley checks his bank account to find it empty again and seemingly goes back to his mundane life. One day Sloan tries to assassinate Wesley, but it turns out to be only a decoy as Sloan walked into the same trap as Mr. X. One of Pekwarsky's custom bullets bursts through Sloan's brain before rewinding, and we begin following it through Janice's donut. It then travels through Barry's drink as he argues with Cathy and all the way to the apartment where Wesley fired from his father's chair. And the movie ends.